up, guys? I'm out here in Vegas just chasing that crypto dream. Just like all the other crypto kids. Go get that crypto.
What is up, guys? Back with another video. I'm about to head inside this coffee shop, get some work done. I got the laptop. I'm still stacking SCHD. I'm at 46,590 shares. We're about 50K in income. Trying to get to 250,000. All right, guys, I just finished working in there. Now I'm getting back in the 911. So today what I worked on was upsells for the website. And you guys do e-commerce, you know, or any sales, you know. With sales, you're always trying to upsell at the counter when you're in checkout. So basically I'm just adding some upsells, downsells. I already had them active, but I just dialed them in. If anyone's new to the channel, it's basically about Porsches, e-commerce, dividend investing, family, just that kind of stuff. If you like that, let me get a subscription. I appreciate everybody watching. It's like 54% of the people that watch aren't subscribed. But if you guys are into that same kind of stuff, subscribe. I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling a course or pushing something. I'm literally just making videos. Just sharing my journey trying to get to financial freedom. I was a diesel mechanic. I grew up in Maryland. And then my wife and I built an e-commerce business over years. 2013-14, we started a Shopify store. But I didn't quit my job till I was 2016. And then we were still kind of struggling, but little by little, by 2020, we got it up and running. Now it's kind of all going downhill again, and now I'm trying to scale it back up. I never went to college. I just have a high school diploma. I went to community college for a little while, but then I left. Oh, I forgot a job I had. Like 2 videos ago, I was talking about the jobs I had. I was a mason laborer. I worked at Roy Rogers making chicken, Dunkin' Donuts. I forgot. For like 2 years, I delivered pizzas at Pizza Bowlies. That was like my main high school job. I was delivering pizzas when I got my license. I actually liked that job. Pizza delivery is a chill job. I had to say the hardest part was not eating the pizza. When you're real hungry, you had a full-blown pizza next to you. Also, if you're new to the channel, I'm driving the Porsche 911. I bought it stock. I lowered it, put AL13 wheels on it, 22s in the rear, 21s in the front. Tech Art body kit, exhaust and headers and cats, and a stage 2 tune. If you guys are new to the channel, I pretty much daily drive this thing. I haven't been daily driving it in like a lot of the videos in a couple past videos, because it was we were getting it PPF'd. It's black PPF. The paint's black, but we PPF'd it black because the paint had so many problems because of me driving it every day. But I gotta say, a Porsche 911 is a very functional, reliable car. It's comfortable, it's fun to drive. I've got kids. I have 4 kids, so I drive the kids all over the place in it. We do everything in it. Get groceries, put them in the front. If you have children and you're looking for a sports car, I'm telling you, a 911, man, it checks all the boxes. But if they're newborn age, it's probably not the best car. But toddler age, it's great because the rear seats are perfect for toddlers. They really are. They're like built-in toddler seats. They really do work good for toddlers. So I'm really into dividend growth investing. I like buying dividend stocks that have a growing dividend. And I like the dividend to be qualified. I'm okay with a K1 too. Like some of the oil master limited partnerships, oil infrastructures. I don't have any of those, but I like the tax structure of the qualified dividend. So far, I found the easiest way for me to dividend invest for dividends that grow and not have to constantly look at the underlying holding and look at the stock itself, like buying single stocks. So far, I found SCHD to be the best ETF for that. Its annual dividend growth rate's really good. The criteria that Charles Schwab has to select the stocks is really good, as far as like how long they've had to have been raising their dividends, the return on equity, the free cash flow the companies have. When you buy SCHD as an ETF, you don't have to go and look at all the single stocks and look at all those things constantly yourself. Every quarter, looking at their earnings. Some people have commented and said, can you explain dividend investing and what is dividend investing? So first I want to say, if you're young, because I make these videos and I talk about SCHD and you may not know anything about investing, or you may know nothing about ETFs and stocks, and you may just say, this guy's buying SCHD, I'm going to buy it. And first thing I have to say is, if you're young, you know, SCHD holds a lot of very boring defensive companies. A lot of companies that pay a higher dividend are more defensive. So a dividend is basically money that the company makes, and they don't have a better place to put it to provide value for the shareholder, the person who owns the stock, than to give you the money itself, to give you the actual money. So that's what a dividend is. Where a company like Nvidia or Google, they're not paying a huge dividend because they'd rather retain the money and reinvest it in the business, and they can provide you more value by reinvesting the money than they could giving you the money. So if you're young, you're probably going to be better off buying something like VOO, which is the total S&P 500, or QQQ, or something more growth related, because you have a long time horizon. See, growth stock ETFs like VGT and QQQ, they'll have much larger increases, much larger returns, and they'll have much larger drawdowns when things are bad. But over time, the overall return, the average annual return over time, is much larger. So if you have a shorter time horizon, or you want income in the fairly near term, you may not want to be in something that's super growth oriented, because just like you have the larger returns, you have the larger drawdowns. And you might think, I could be going into a period where there could be a drawdown and I'm going to have to wait. But I may want to have income in the next 3 years. I mean, I'll want to wait. But if you're someone that's young, you already know you have a very long time horizon in front of you. So you really shouldn't be in something very defensive. You should be in something that's has a higher average annual return. Even if there is larger drawdowns over time, you know over time you're going to have more growth. But if you're someone that's focused on income, or maybe you want to have like a very boring safe portfolio that just because let's just say it's just what works for your psychology, like you feel good, you feel comfortable buying something that doesn't really go down that much, doesn't really go up that much, but you know over time is producing some type of income that grows, then maybe dividend growth investing's for you. A lot of people have left comments like, what are these terms you're using, like yield or average rate of return? So just to clarify, when you buy a stock, the dividend is a percentage, well actually the dividend is a dollar amount of the share price. So let's just say, for easy math, let's just say you're buying Coca-Cola stock, and let's say it's $10 for one share of Coca-Cola stock, and let's say they pay a 10% dividend. You would get $1 for every share you own. So if you had 10 shares, you would get $10. Now, when you see that in a percentage, it's going to say 10%. So if you were to log in on any day and look and say, what's the dividend of Coca-Cola? Even though it's a dollar amount per share, the percentage fluctuates when the share price fluctuates, because it's always a dollar amount of the share price. So if, for example, Coca-Cola went to $5 per share, and you were to log in and look, what's the dividend of Coca-Cola today? Oh, wow, it's a 20% dividend, because the share price decreased, because the dividend is always a dollar amount of the share price. Now, when you look at that percentage, like 10% or 20%, whatever the dividend is, that's an annual number. So if you had Coca-Cola and it said it paid you a 10% dividend, you're going to get 10% annually. It's not quarterly, weekly, monthly, it's annually. Now, most qualified dividend stocks, they pay out quarterly, so 4 times a year. So if you're getting 10% annually, you can divide that by 4, and that's going to be the percentage you're going to get 4 times a year. But just to make it easy, if you had $1 million and SCHD is a 4% dividend on the day that you bought the $1 million worth, you're going to get $40,000, 40% of $1 million, once a year, or 4 times a year. But total is going to be $40,000 divided by 4. I'm only describing this because some people don't know these basic things around dividend investing or around stocks. Now, if you're young and I say you should buy like VOO or QQQ or those ETFs, if you don't even know what an ETF is, an ETF is an exchange traded fund. It's like a company like Vanguard or Charles Schwab. They're going to take the top 500 companies and they're going to put them in one basket for you. And instead of you having to go out and buy 500 ticker symbols and decide what percentage you want of each one, you can just buy one ticker symbol, VOO. And when you buy it, if you want to know what's inside VOO, it's called the holdings. So you can go on Google and type in, what are the holdings of VOO? And you click in and you're going to see all the different things VOO holds. And they're market cap weighted. So market cap is the value of the company. So you're going to be able to look and see, wow, what does VOO hold? You might see like Microsoft has the largest market cap. So you might see, oh wow, the top 10 holdings are Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Nvidia. You know, you're going to see this based on the market cap, based on the size of the company. But you're going to own the top 500 companies in the US when you own VOO. And what's nice about owning an ETF is that when number 499 or number 500 becomes trash, number 501 is going to come in and number 500 is going to become 501. When its market cap goes up, when 501's market cap surpasses 500's, they're going to switch. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're constantly, the losers fall out automatically and the winners go in automatically. That's why it's extremely hard to beat the S&P 500. That's why it's the benchmark. That's why if you're young, you should probably just dollar cost average the S&P 500. Another benefit to buying something like the S&P 500 and not buying dividends, if you're young, is that when the dividend is paid out to you as cash, you have the option to reinvest it or keep the money. It doesn't matter if you reinvest it or keep the money. When it's paid to you, you have to pay tax on it. I like qualified dividends. If you are a dividend investor, you may like qualified dividends the most because there's tax benefits. They're taxed at a lower rate. But if you buy something like VOO, do you remember we said that a dividend is only really paid to you because the company doesn't really have a better place to put the money to earn, to grow the money to provide value to you. So when they pay that to you, you pay tax on it. Well, the benefit of owning VOO or Nvidia or some of these other companies is that they retain that money and they don't pay it to you, so you don't pay tax on it. It stays inside of the account and it compounds. So that's why sometimes people will say dividend investing has tax drag. Tax drag is basically like, even if you're reinvesting the dividend, you got to pay it. You're constantly hitting checkpoints and paying a little tax on it. And over time, that can take away from the overall return. So if you're young, again, something like VOO, no tax drag. But I thought I'd just go over some of these little things just to, just if you're new to investing, give you an idea of what the different things are. But I'll definitely get more into dividend investing and the details and different things around it and why I choose SCHD. But that's just kind of an overview of, I like to make the case for why someone shouldn't be buying dividends if they're young, because a lot of people will just jump on board and say, oh, I want this, this guy's buying this, or he seems like he knows what he's doing. But you should always do your due diligence because everybody's situation is different.